Oh shit, here comes Zohran! You guys weren't ready for this, were you? You weren't ready for this. Guess who's coming in first? All you haters that were like, he can't win, he can't get ahead of Cuomo, and la la. First of all, like I said, he did not have name recognition at all, okay? I don't think you guys realize how, much of an advantage name recognition is to people. Now that more people know who he is, now that the debate has happened and people had a very positive response to the debate, look who's surging. In a new poll, okay? Zohran Mamdami, the young Democratic socialist who has been rising in the mayor's race, is now ahead of Andrew Cuomo with just 2 weeks until the Democratic primary. In this new poll, Mamdami is beating Cuomo 35-31 with a difference that is narrow within the 4.1 margin of error. I don't think you guys realize what a big deal this is. The fact that he's beating Cuomo in a poll, Cuomo is not just the former governor. He's also the son of a former governor. He's like New York State royalty when it comes to name recognition. This is huge, you guys. Don't let anybody tell you that Zohran Mamdami can't win. Do not let them tell you that. Also, if you follow any fucking influencer in New York that isn't talking about this race and telling you to vote for Mamdami, unfollow them. It's actually criminal at this point. Because Andrew Cuomo is going to be so disastrous, people don't even understand. Let me tell you something. Michael Bloomberg endorsed Cuomo. That should tell you everything you need to know. Oh wow, he got the other low-key racist sex pass. Billionaire hack real estate shill. What a coveted endorsement. Anyway, support for Mamdami was the strongest among white and Asian voters, but 27% of black voters supported him, as did nearly 1/3 of Hispanic voters, an indication that he is gaining multiracial support amongst New Yorkers. Because that's the thing, the more people find out about him, the more people like him. And his campaign, especially recently, has actually been doing a very good job of community outreach. They've been going everywhere. They're not focusing on just one neighborhood or one borough. They're going everywhere. Unfortunately, though, Cuomo's lead with black voters remains particularly durable at 42%. Guys, I don't want to be too hard on Mamdami's campaign because, like I said, they've done a lot of really, really good voter outreach, and they have chipped away at this. Cuomo's support among black voters just a month ago was over 50%. The more people find out about him, the more they like him, the more they want to vote for him, the more support that he gets. And actually, if you look at the crosstabs, a lot of the voters that are in that 42% that support Cuomo still are older voters. And they're older voters who tend to care about the endorsements of older politicians. And there are a lot of really corrupt older politicians that are supporting Cuomo in New York. When you look at the demographics of black voters under the age of 35, it's a totally different story. A lot of them are supporting Mamdami. And I think this is so important too to focus on and tell everybody that that we still need to try to get these numbers down. Because the thing is that you'll hear a lot of hacks in the Democratic Party shill factory be like, well, actually, Cuomo has more support with black people, so that's why Cuomo's great. And fuck Zohran Mamdami because he's a socialist and white people like him. That's propaganda you shouldn't be falling for, because the reality of the situation is this. Despite the fact that Zohran Mamdami has a lot of white support, and we're talking about white voters on the left who tend to be under the age of 50 and college educated, his policies are so pro-worker, so pro-working class, so common sense, everyday New Yorker. They are going to vastly benefit poor New Yorkers, working class New Yorkers, middle class New Yorkers, if we have any of them left, than they will to support higher income earning, college educated whites, or any of the top earners from any demographic. The point is, in practice, Cuomo's constituency is rich people. Yes, if you're Bloomberg, Zohran's policies won't benefit you, but if you're a normal person, they will. Understand one of the reasons why Cuomo has a lot of older black support is because of his relationships with the church leaders, as well as a lot of the other entrenched politicians in New York. But New York is a very diverse place. So don't forget, when it comes to a lot of other demographics, here comes Zohran. But the demographic elephant in the room that Cuomo was really trying to court is Jewish voters. And he thinks that because Zohran is Muslim and because he's a Zionist shill, he thinks he's going to get all the Jewish votes. Sending out hacks like this to be like, urgent, Zohran bad. But you know what? That's also propaganda I'm not falling for, because despite all of Cuomo's pandering to the Jewish community and endorsements from conservative synagogues and shit, the fact of the matter is some of the most anti-genocide pro-Palestine Jews are right here in New York City, baby. So I say the same thing to Zohran's campaign about Jewish voters as I do about black voters. Don't let Cuomo make your campaign think that they have it in the bag. That's how they're trying to make it look on social media. And by the way, if you're a high-profile politician like Bernie Sanders and you still haven't endorsed Zohran, what are you doing? Now, if you really want to make sure that white wealthier people are supported financially and get most of the political benefits from this, then yes, support Cuomo. But if you actually want to elect someone who's going to represent a multiracial working class and actually deliver, like he's actually running on something. That's what I think is great about Zohran Mamdami. If you haven't already watched his interview he just did on The Breakfast Club, it is so good. Go listen to it, because he talks about just the common sense of the things that we would not usually look at as pie in the sky. But because we're so used to living in hell, they treat everything like it's pie in the sky now. Like, oh, how unrealistic that you want affordable housing. Why is that unrealistic? Why? Because we've had oligarchs in charge for so long? No, except it's not unrealistic. We've just settled for less for way too long. Some of you need to stop allowing billionaires to tell you what you don't deserve. The standard of living for all Americans is going backwards. And we all see it happening and why it's happening. And yet some of you will still say, yeah, but let's elect the same kind of politician that brought us to this moment. The Democratic Party for decades have failed the people. All of the leaders, whether that be at the national or the local level, have been failing and fucking over their voters for decades. It's time to stop electing the same pool of losers if we want something to change. Like, if liberals and progressives are in any way serious about winning elections again, it's time to stop running reruns. Cuomo was in the Clinton administration. That's how long and entrenched he is in Democratic politics. A Democratic Party that has failed time and again to deliver for their own voters and has lost twice to Trump. If you're a Democratic voter that's like, oh, well, I know who Cuomo is and I don't know who Zohran is and socialism's a scary word. The question is, are you happy with the way things are now? Because it's going to be like that and worse if Cuomo gets in office. Democrats like Cuomo want to gaslight you and pressure you into doing this status quo or else. Let's try something different this time. Let's actually try voting for someone in something instead of just against something or for the status quo. The only thing Zohran is asking for at this point is for people to sign up to canvass and volunteer. He's not even trying to raise money. Meanwhile, Andrew Cuomo has got big real estate, the Israeli regime, Uber, Anthony Scaramucci, and all the other Trump-affiliated ghouls endorsing him. I'm talking to everybody I even see, okay? I went to a fucking streetcar today to get some food, and I was talking to the guys at the streetcar, asking them if they were going to be voting for Mamdani. And you know what? They told me they were registered in Pennsylvania. And I get that, but folks, you live here. Everybody's always registered in a different state. But this is exciting. We actually have a possibility to vote for someone who might actually do something for us. Andrew Cuomo's fucking ass, when he's not prepping to represent Netanyahu in a war crimes case, and when he's not snuggling up to Trump voters, which, by the way, if you have an older family member who's like, well, I remember Mario Cuomo, blah, blah, remind them that all of his donors, Cuomo's donors, are the same as Trump's. How is he going to take Trump on when they got the same donors? No. Zohran, okay? The only thing that anyone has against Zohran is calling him a socialist, which they can't even define. I'm so sorry. I'm going to need everybody to stop living in the 1980s. The word socialist is a word that is thrown around by idiots that don't even know what it means. But we've all been indoctrinated since time immemorial to think like, oh no, the ruthless boot of capitalism on our neck is great, actually. And then they'll look at all the failed policies of greedy capitalists in our society and go, we got to stop the socialism. What socialism? This is a capitalist fucking country and a capitalist fucking city. Everything about this country is extreme corruption and capitalism. The White House may as well have a copyright on it. The reason they get so hysterical over democratic socialism and they fearmonger about it so hardcore is because they know if you actually experienced it, you don't want to give it back. It's the same reason they forced people back into the office or didn't want them working from home in the first place, because they knew that people would work from home and be like, yeah, why am I going to the office 5 days a week? I've got an idea. How about instead of continuing to live under failed capitalist regimes and calling them socialists, why don't we stop fear-mongering around someone running as a democratic socialist, and instead of trying to get everybody to settle for nothing, settle for fucking Cuomo and what shit that is going to be having to be under him, all because you don't like the term Democratic Socialist, how about instead of doing that, we actually don't vote out of fear for a change? And we have that luxury to not just vote out of fear because we have ranked choice voting. It is not all or nothing. So why don't we actually vote for something? Because you know what Andrew Cuomo hasn't promised? To do anything. He's actually running on shit. Lower housing costs, rent freezes, grocery stores, free childcare. Let's fucking go. Don't rank Cuomo, don't rank Andrew Adams, don't rank Jessica Ramos.